Right. It's going to be acting kind of funny today. How y'all feeling out there today? Coming to you live. Take this off real quick. Let's see. What's happening? How you doing? How you doing? What's up? What's up? What's up? What's happening? What's happening? Do this thing. Do this thing. Okay, let's get this thing going. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that means. Roller, roller. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. I don't play that. How you doing? How you doing? So I am live now. I had to go do some links to other places because I don't have the luxury of just everything just anointing. What's happening? The 49ers should win. They should. But it's a trap game because I remember last time Frisco played Cleveland in Cleveland, they lost. Cleveland's defense is legit. Okay, well, you can go. I don't deal with no trolls, so see how old that feels. Yeah. Um well that favors Cleveland, but I don't know if Shador knows how to play in the well, Colorado, but it's different. But it's a big game for the 49ers. It's a huge game. They win the game, they're very much in the mix. I think that those three teams in the NFC West are probably three of the 6, 7 best teams in the NFL. LA and Seattle somewhere between 1 and 3. So 49ers can join them. Hey, those are the three teams that I'm going to look at before I look at any other division, let alone when you get to the NFC East, the South. the North. Even though Chicago's interesting, Caleb Williams is interesting. May a problem. They know how to win, and a young man is winning, and their defense is coming along. So I don't know, and we'll see with Green Bay. I miss my old buddy on here, but I don't hear anymore. But a Packerland, I'm telling you, hey, not with another loss, they won't. And to be honest with you, they don't deserve to make the playoffs. They've played like garbage. I mean, between the fumbling and the bad defense and the turnovers and getting out coached, outworked, especially in a division where Pittsburgh was leading. I mean, give me a break. Aaron Rodgers ain't gonna be. They're not running away with nothing. Burrow's hurt, so that lose like 20 in a row. And Cleveland had 3 different quarterbacks. There is no excuse. So that tells me right there that Harbaugh, when you got a handicap division and you still struggling, you lost your plight. So they don't deserve to make the playoffs. If you're a Ravens fan, don't get mad at me, but I'm telling the truth though. The way you lost to Buffalo week 1, you don't deserve. You know, you don't deserve it. You know, you got a guy that's a 2-time league MVP. He's been in the top 3 about 5 of those years or something, and you can't do no better than that. And you got Derrick Henry. Your defense can't stop. No, you don't deserve. You let Joe Burrow just tore y'all behind up to the shreds. Not a good team. Not a good team. And if they don't make it, they're not gonna fire him, but they should though. But he should be on the way out the door. I'm just saying. Good thing I don't run the Ravens. He'd be fired. I'd clean house. I sure would. I don't know if Derrick Henry's got another good year in him. He fumbled too much, and I just think that they just don't have focus. And I think that they somehow think because that they top talent, you know, the Ravens basically got James Harden syndrome. And the people who apologize will make excuses about how, but I'm like, you got to win in the postseason, yo. You can't fumble and bumble. To where? To where? And we got to trade to the Raiders. That'd be sensational. The Giants sure wouldn't miss up on this opportunity. The Jets wouldn't at this time. I don't know if you're gonna trade a 2-time league MVP that's still in the middle of his peak, his prime. I don't know what you go. I don't know. But strange things have been known to happen. So I wouldn't put nothing past it, but they should get rid of Harbaugh though. Yeah, but they need to put some talent around him. Max Crosby can't do it by himself. They got a good tight end and running game is usually good, but Pete Carroll would do great for him. Actually, you're on to something. Actually, could be a Russell Wilson 2.0, but a better version. Actually, you might be on to something. Because something like that would make sense. That's what give Pete Carroll reason for coming back. See, Geno Smith is their reason why you don't come back. But Lamar, peak prime. Because I say the same thing, and and there's no cap with me. The same criteria against Josh Allen is what I have with Lamar Jackson. He need a coach who's got ego. And when you don't have a coach that has ego, this is what you get. And ego means a coach who understands how to coach ego. And if you don't know how to coach ego, you wreck a sure thing. There's a difference between a cat that gets rings and a cat that don't. Or that to your level. So like Donald McNabb played beyond. Good to see you, because I sent you a message. I'm on here today. The way the week is going, probably Saturday's the next time I'm coming. Probably gonna be like once or twice a week now. At least this week and next week. Yeah. So maybe a late Saturday, early Saturday, Sunday situation, kind of like a weekend combo. That's gonna be about it. Because I'm not gonna be coming on during the week. But yeah, I am here today. Oh yeah, that's how I feel too. And I'm laughing too because he had to go run back there because that was the only game in town. They're talking about 25-year anniversary. I'm like, look, first of all, right, most people ain't cared about you in 20, and y'all had a couple-year window. My only main thing is they're gonna be doing the R. Kelly songs because they act like they weren't gonna do them again. They got something. They talking about having a new whack album come out in February. I'm like, ain't nobody care about y'all new record. Ain't nobody care about y'all new record. Y'all got like three songs people care about, and two of them R. Kelly was on them, and everything else is just between your family. Nothing, because first of all, yeah, you can beat up on second, third tier teams, especially third tier. You stockpile. There's a lot of garbage teams out there. Do that against OKC. Let me see what happens against Houston. Let me see what happens against teams or Denver. Don't get excited about beating up on 10 can teams. There's a lot of 10 can teams out there. But remember, they lost to Atlanta. Teams that can run and can bring the Aiton out and make them have to play on the perimeter, that's where your problems are going to be. You better have fun with Reeves. And every game's a battle. I mean, they barely won this other game. They have to score a lot, give up a lot, and they have to exude a lot. He look old. What you mean? How he look? He looked old against Dallas. He'll do okay, but don't let Skip Bayless say anything crazy. I don't know if it's about for teenagers because I'll tell you this much: if you write a good standard song, it can be for any age range. If I use that logic, then the Temptations, but they songs were endless. If I use that logic, New Edition, but they still touring. Now, a problem with groups like B2K is that they're such a one-dimensional act that that's all they really got. That's why you say that. But guess what? Those teenagers that you're talking about today are 30, 40-year olds. So they're not and the kids today ain't gonna break their neck to go see no B2K. I'm sorry. That's not first of all, it's a whole different era. That's 20 plus years later. You Got Served came out in '04. We're almost in '06. So you're talking about 22 years. So ain't nobody when you say teenagers, it's not quite. I know what you mean though, but their fans done grown up and have kids and stuff. They're not. Please hit that like button too, by the way, if you're on here and if you want to talk, feel free. Except they didn't. They were too black for they didn't get the same push as NSYNC and Backstreet did. You can't even compare it because those acts went diamond. So they're not they had the movie. Lauren had a little bit of a run, right? Not as big as those two acts. And not New Kids on the Block who had lunch boxes and all kinds of stuff. So not the same. I know what you're getting at, but not the same. Not the same. Because we live in a black and white world and black groups, unless you was boys to men, didn't sell those kind of records. So and B2K sure didn't sell those kind of records. B2K was probably about as popular as 98 Degrees on the food chain, if I'm keeping it 100. But not with those acts that you mentioned. Because Backstreet was huge, NSYNC was huge, New Kids was huge. B2K, it was more of a hood thing with some crossover. They did quite well, but I don't. You can look at the certifications; they weren't on that level. And sure as heck not to take no 20 years off and come back with some whack record. No, 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 no. So I was listening to Terrence Howard and Billy Carson talk about. – You should. I don't know what that means. Um, I don't listen to nothing he got to say. And I'm gonna tell you a quick story. To quote Elihaj Shabazz, aka Malcolm X, don't let entertainers and athletes tell you about real life situations. Okay? That's the best quote because this is exactly it. Terrence Howard, who I think, because he can talk. Terrence got a good gab. He got a good gab. He talks a real good gab. I've seen him do interviews. He talk, but did you mean Oxford in England or did you mean Oxford? I don't understand where that was at. Well, see, first of all, any school that lets that turkey talk, they obviously trying to get some donations and some hype. I don't pay him no mind. I don't. And I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something. He didn't waste his career. That dude could have been a top 5 actor of his generation. Because it wasn't because he didn't do something strange for the change. He just kind of got into okay. Well, hey, whatever. OJ did at a speech there too. Um, if they think he's deep and they got money and they want to pay expenses, more power to them. I can't stop them for acting like. Look, I like some of his movies, and I think that he had a chance to be a really great actor once upon a time. But he spent so much time hustling and jiving. I don't pay Terrence no mind. And I used to like him too. I used to like Terrence. I like his old stuff. I think he has some good in him, but I don't sweat him no. Yeah, well, what that got nothing to do with him? Yeah, and he's acting in England too. Talking about why he lecturing like no, no. That's where the money's at for him though, because ain't nobody gonna touch him in no movies though. That dating came and gone. He messed up that thing. He a hustler, and I got props for him for what he do, but ain't nobody listening to Terrence though. Ain't nobody listening to Terrence. You go broke, listen to Terrence. You go broke. And see, sometimes because he's in that profession, yeah, I know, but you know. And I like the cat. I like the cat, but I no, no. Because he was also trying to be part mega and part I don't know what he doing. And I don't pay none of these entertainers no mind when they getting it out there lame because they say anything, something strange to get some change. So I already learned that. Did you get the link about that? I think she did have some kind of altercation, but I don't think nobody cares. I think I read something. Let me tell you a story. Nobody would really care now. Janet Jackson doesn't really move the needle where people would care one with the other. What you mean? What happened to her? You talking about her career? Are you talking about her career? If you talking about her career, she got hood. She got hood. She's stuck in the hood. That's what that. If you talking about that, Taraji. So the whole thing with Oprah about the dressing room and all that, um, no one's gonna touch her. She basically got. I won't say she got mammy roles, but she pretty much got black woman anger, certain type of roles. I seen the movies. She doesn't have no crossover appeal. Though she has appeal, but it's got to be like with a cast of cast. She doesn't really appeal to the plate. So she's kind of stagnant. Oh, she'll keep a gig, but she will never get a Angela Bassett or even Neil Long situation. She ain't Vivica A. Fox, and she ain't Tiffany Haddish, but she ain't Angela Bassett. She's not going to get Viola Davis gigs. So she's kind of in between. She's a tweener, and they really ain't got nothing for her, and they don't pay her nothing. So that's what happened. The whole thing with her and Terrence Howard kind of like it worked on TV and it worked on film, but they basically were like the broke double Junior Whopper broke version of Lawrence Fishburne and Angela Bassett because they did TV and film together, but it didn't translate. And Taraji doesn't really translate like that. I think she's a good actress and I like her, all right, but I understand why people don't mess with her. She kind of been her own worst enemy. And so when you get hood roles, that's a great question. Let me use that one. Um, for me, it's Johnny Cochran, but I like the question though, and I'm gonna tell you why. Cornel West was cool once upon a time in a George Jefferson kind of way, but then he played his hand when Obama was out. He played his hand, and I just thought that he kind of got kind of like bought and paid for. I just thought he kind of went a little too far. Um, he's still an average team. Only if Philadelphia tanks out do y'all going and y'all not better than he's still not a good you're nowhere near LA and Seattle. Chicago already beat your butt. So yeah, at best you might be a second tier team and you're doing what you're supposed to do. But you're not exactly blowing me away. You had a couple nice close wins and you struggled. You got lucky against the refs helped you out against KC and you got a little help out against Philly. Okay? Not impressed. What's happening? How you doing? I like the Johnny Cochran thing, so I'm gonna use that for a future one. There was some bad soul sisters, Diane Carroll was considered attractive. Sheila Frazier. Pam Grier just had a certain crossover, but she wasn't. Um, you can make a case for Angela Bassett. I think Angela Bassett is a very attractive woman and keeps herself together. I think Nia Long had potential. Obviously, you forgot about Halle Berry. Pam Grier's situation was more black identified, though. I think that's what you're getting at. But there was Sheila Frazier, and there was the Lynette McKee. There was quite a few. Lynette McKee was pretty big. I like Tavis better. Roland Martin is on point to an extent, but sometimes he can come across kind of like it depends. Like he's gonna do an alpha beta combo. I just think Tara was more professional. Um, I like his presentation more of the two. I'm gonna tell you like this: you're still a 500 team, and how she had bleep on the screen when the woman's got an Oscar, crossed over, did everything Pam Grier, and did it in 30 years less time than Pam Grier, who took forever and a day to get a major market move with a Quentin Tarantino. Halle Berry crossed over a long time ago. Especially how they treat black actresses, because and you see how they do Angela Bassett. Do I need to say more? Or unless you play a mammy or maid or something. I'm not impressed with Dallas. Yeah, because she showed her behind in Monsters Ball with Diddy and Billy Bob. I'm not impressed with Dallas. I'm not impressed. You're doing what you're supposed to do. You have a top tier quarterback who's one of the highest paid. You should. You had a head coach with the last name Schottenheimer. You should. You got an owner like Jerry Jones who got rid of Marka Parsons, got picks. You should. You got Pickens, who's a legit receiver. You should. CD Lamb was considered one of the best receivers in the game. You should. You got one of the best place kickers in the game. You should. So what you want, a cookie for being 6 and 5, one average and struggling and having to have the refs help you out and have all kinds of things happen to you, and you still, I'm going to keep on drinking because you gave up 49 points the last 2 weeks. But you want the cookies for that? You gave up nearly 25 points a game, 50 points. Yeah, you got 2 wins, but you got to give up as much as you score. Not a good team. And you got ran off the field against Carolina. Let's stop with all this. What we going on? Chicago beat the doorknobs off of you. Caleb Williams exposed you. You're not better than the Rams. You're not better than the Seahawks, okay? And I don't think you could beat the 49ers, who used to knock your butt out royally every year in the playoffs. Them 3 teams are better than you. Chicago's better than you. That's 4 if you can count that high. And if Carolina wins a division, oh boy. So you're not, no. If Philly tanks, you got hope. If they don't tank, and I'll give you this. I will say this. I don't have to think about nothing because I still think that y'all not that good of a team. I will say this though. Come back next year and you play with this motivation, I expect y'all to be a top 4 team, top 5 team next year. But this year, no. Damage been done. It's too much to overcome. And Philly's got a tank basically for y'all to have hope. And you better beat Detroit next week because if you lose one more game, well, process of elimination. So you're not that good of a team. And I still think y'all got 2 more losses coming. And it ain't the worst thing. Not saying, but I'm not impressed because Dak is a top tier quarterback, hype wise, number wise. You should be better than what you are. So, no, I'm not impressed. They're not running no table. They're going to lose to Detroit next week. And when y'all lose to the Lions, see what you got to say. Because one more loss, and that's pretty much it. And let's use common sense, shall we? You don't have tiebreakers over Carolina or Chicago. The Rams going to have top tier over you. See, I don't have top tier over you. You're not going to run nothing. Those teams are better than you. Well, I'm not going to make this into a video. I'll just talk about this here. I liked Leon better, but Leon, he had a moment and it didn't really go nowhere because he kept playing in kind of like the stiff role. Leon was kind of like Morris Chestnut. It's kind of like the same person, except Leon got more range. He drops too many passes. Malik Yoba, who when he ain't blurry, don't know if he's man, black, or whatever. I'm not saying anything about the Bills. Did you hear me talk about the Bills? Sure, we ain't done nothing. We might not even make the playoffs. So I'm not delusional. I ain't the one up here popping gums about how great my team is. We're not a good team. Not like we should be. Shoot, you better hope Josh Allen never gets the right coach. Because I keep it honest about my team. I don't sugarcoat. That's not a Super Bowl contending team. They might not even be worthy of making the playoffs this year. I don't care about waiting for the new stadium. How about trying to win something now? Shoot. You wasting away a Hall of Fame career and y'all talking about, I don't care about no stadium. Shoot, they wasting away. And it's not looking good at all. Oh, yeah, and by the way, my college football team lost yesterday too because Michigan got their butt tore up by Ohio State. So I took L's. Mm-hmm. And I admit it. I don't be having no false illusion, though. I told you already. Um, I knew the Dodgers were going to win the World Series. I knew the Yankees weren't there. I get asked about the Miami Heat. They they decent second tierish team. Yeah, but it was a fumble. They hit Auburn was deep in their territory and dude got hit in the ribs and dropped that ball. They won by 7. They ain't no top tier team though. It's Ohio State's chip to win this year. Indiana will find out what they made of. They play them next week, but it's Ohio State's to win. Oregon won, but I don't see nobody touching Ohio State this year. And I can't stand Ohio State, but hey, they look like they're on a mission this year. And Bama is okay. Bama is a high second tier team, very high second, low first, which basically means you get a high bowl, but not the bowl. So if they have like a top four bowl, you get the top 5 or 6 bowl, but you don't get to play in the other bowls because you're just not that good of a team, not that level. Mm-mm. So anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about that. 57%. Okay, saying yes for B2K. Okay, got some B2K fans out here. Okay, okay, good. And this means that this show appeals to a different line of crew. Well, I saw B2K 20. I saw them when they were hot on different things, but I don't know. Yeah, Bama won, but you know, I think that when Janet Jackson's gonna get on TV, she's gonna get asked about that. That's her brother, and I think that because there's always that curiosity and elephants in the room, people gonna ask. And I think that, it's not they're gonna come with rose colored glasses. Cause see, people don't let Michael Jackson rest in peace. So yes, it's unprofessional, it's disrespectful, it's blasphemous. Cause I'm gonna tell you something. Ain't no one dugger when Elvis died that they was asking stuff. Jerry Lee Lewis died, they ain't say no more. Phil Spector died. Well, that's a matter of personal opinion. Now, it depends on what kind of it depends on something gets tested. Now, if Janet Jackson said something about that woman's weave or said that she got a BBL, then maybe that's how she ended up saying something. I don't know. But let me tell you the woman something. Old choreography or not, Janet Jackson can still pack a stage 45 plus years later. Sonny, what we gonna talk about you in 10, 15 years? See. So let's look at who you trying to diss. You dissing somebody who's pulled it down for almost 5 decades. The people's lack of professionalism shows. Jan Jackson was a kid on stage with her brothers on the Jackson Variety Show, which was 50 years ago. Let that sink in. She didn't spend over half of her spent almost like Michael, like three quarters of her life she's been in the media eye. That's what I say to the haters. Shh. People think they clapping on somebody, but hey, you clapping on people that have legendary careers. What you got? You know. Now that everybody's got a tablet and can AI stuff, but there was a time you had to get a pen and paper out and hope your stuff don't get soaked in the rain, don't get thrown away, and remember your quotes. Now, now, I wouldn't say nothing about that because Janet was a very good dancer, very stylish, impactful. Shoot, she got career. But Janet, because of the backlash she took with the whole thing with Timberlake, that's where a lot of stuff, the hate still kicks in. And I know I get it. I get it. I get it. Excuse me. I get it. You ever wonder why they talk trash? Because, there's ways you can talk to an artist and there's ways that you can't. And, we know that a lot of artists like popcorn type of softball kind of questions, and sometimes they had that stuff rehearsed. But I don't know nobody would come up to Janet Jackson and say your stuff is old. I don't know about that. That's a bit much. But there's a different era of people out here nowadays that interview. Cause I remember when that one woman who got on that platform with Babyface and didn't know his songs and just played him like he was like treated him like he wasn't nothing there. And I was like, "Shh, that's some cold stuff, but that's what they train them to do. People don't study none no more when it shows. Used to be a time you'd, you respect the ones that came before and all that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, 18 years out of 75 could have been done on the guidance line, so it depends on if he had any other thing. If he had a snitch, he probably would have been on about 7.5. But he obviously got some paper on him because the cat got to perform with Monica and Brandy. So, yeah, I heard about that. But he had money on his books. That's how he got out and he was able to perform. And I'm sure that's exactly what Mike Epps was going on about when cats get out of prison, especially the ones that do heinous stuff and they get rewarded with all the trimmings and everything. Cause that just is not even cool. And think about it. Excuse me. He gets to go on tour with Monica and Brandy. And I'm not saying that this is 90s or nothing with Monica and Brandy, but he gets to tour with them and that's paid for. That's money. Okay. Shoot. So there's some money being spent to be an opening act. You do know it costs money. Okay. All right, let's get some questions going. But I don't really, I don't really subscribe to that point of view. But there's a lot of stuff with the business that's pretty common. They said he was because it's called payback. There's dues you gotta pay. You don't understand. There's street rules, and a cat will get like 50. So put it like this. Let me hip you to some game. Give me a one if you can hear me good. Give me a one if you want to hear me hip you to what I think if that's true about Ja Rule. Give me a one if you want to hear it. If you don't, give me a two. That's how I'm gonna answer this. Okay. So that whole thing with Ja Rule and Fitty, and I can't think of that dude. Oh God, what's his name? Because Tupac had association with him. I can't think of him. But anyway, in the street game, they put money on Max B's books when he was locked up. He had good protection. He had good food. He had access to whatever he needed. Lowered him up. Good lawyers on him. Covered. Probably gave that cat some seed money. Clothes. Or gave him a whip. You know. But look at here. We own you on these streets. So you just got to put some hands on Ja. And Ja ain't going to snitch because Ja got locked up and Ja can't say nothing. I don't know what Ja Rule's situation is like because I know Irv Soul Murder Inc. got all that money and I don't know what Ja got paid or what's going on. I can't think of that cat's name though right now. Um, he was the one that had association with Pop too. I can't think his name. Haitian Bill, Haitian, yeah, Haitian Bill, Haitian something. Yeah, that cat. So anyway, when they own and they have a say on you, what's happening? How you doing? Good to see you. What's happening? When they got to own and they have a say on you, you got rules you got to play. You got to pay. You know when you hear about in LA about the rappers, they got to check in. Well, They got them. They got folks that when they tied into certain things, I don't know what kind of thing this cat got, but if he did put Haitian Jack, that's who Tupac got down with. Cats got association with like street runners. There's some street cats. They put hands on you. They put money on your books. They expect you to reciprocate. So you know what? You get you. That's what goes on. Sororities, because they're the gangs. They are gangs, and they hide behind alpha betas and all that other stuff, and they do all that, and they end up uh macing people and choke doing all kinds of rituals. So it's like their own Illuminati. This is a gang life. You know what you're getting into. They don't make it all rosy colored. You know what it's about. The sorority things dress you all up and put a big old logo on you. Why does every rapper have a street number? Because it's the streets that run the game. So it's like, and when they talk about rappers got to check in LA, they mean that. You can't go to some places with some jewelry. You can't go some place with some clothes on. They got territory. It's government induced, though, by the way. So I thought I'd throw it in there. No, they have to rep. They have to do what they're because that's why they go through the rituals. And when they take these rappers out, i.e., Nipsey Hussle, Tupac, Big, all that, right? The streets be handling stuff. You gotta pay. It's a club, and they got access to any rapper you want because they've all had to pay. Oh, they get to go a little bit in the burbs, but if they want to put that facade on like they tough guy and they bad, they gotta pay. They gonna get handled and dealt with because that's what's up. Not more. They don't have to. He grew up in an era in 95, 94 when Master P and all that blew up and No Limit and Cashman, all that blew up. It changed the whole game. Outkast blew up, Goody Mob, all that. It changed the whole game. Ghetto Boys, all that changed the whole thing. So they don't have to no more because in New York, end up rapping like them. Changed. I saw it. You know. Um, I don't know about that because now that whatchamacallit doing that corny podcast with Fat Joe, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. You don't know. There's rules, yo. Cats be into a whole lot of stuff. I don't know. I don't know. Can't answer that. I don't pay Charleston White a lot of attention with nothing, but that's just basically the fact that um, some do, but most of them don't because they got their own. They got their own, and New York was janky with them. They shouldn't. They shouldn't. Jadakiss, I was talking about Jadakiss. I don't know because Jadakiss done kind of sold out now, hanging out with Fat Joe doing that podcast. So I don't know. Charleston White just saying with a lot of them cats because they used to get, you know. Well, he was regular in the sense that he wasn't acting off. Well, first of all, he regular as far as I'm concerned because I'm gonna tell you something, and just keep it 100, and no disrespect. I don't think the average head could name 5 of his songs unless they were fans of his. Okay, so but he was a good dude in the community, and he was all right. But most cats, he didn't get that kind of love by folks that I know. Same thing with Young Dolph and some of these others. I just saying, there's a whole generation of era of these acts that are out that if the people could get a million per every time they could guess who they was, what's happening time, they'd be what's happening, good to see you time. They wouldn't they he wasn't that memorable to most. That in the general concept. Just saying. So, you know. But yeah, if you're in the wrong section, wrong place, it can definitely feel. He used Compton to sell, not like us though. He used it. They all use where they come from as consumers. Let me explain. They got enough to get in there to use it. They don't add nothing to it. Most of them don't put no money to make it better, but they know how to use it. Now, I don't know nobody's really, you're right. They need to decide to get straight on defense. They got to stop getting beat on the line. And that's what's up. You got to own the line. Football is difficult and it's not. But if you do dumb stuff, it can be brain surgery for you. You gotta own the line, and they don't own the line on either side. And that's one of the biggest flaws. Yeah, I feel the same way. B2K ain't gonna exactly light the world on fire. So if the Bills can get that, they gotta get somebody that can stuff the run. They gotta get the fundamentals. Yeah, that's a tough time for you. I don't come across that. I'm sure that record went Reynolds rap times 20. I don't even know nobody even talk. Like I said before, most people I know ain't even said nothing about them turkeys in about 20 years. Well, people do stuff in the stands. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not a fan of when you disrespect your fans. Gotta be careful with that. Um, the problem with the Bills is that Josh Allen ends up being like Russell Westbrook and Allen Iverson playing hero ball. And hero ball usually doesn't lead to much. I don't really compare because neither one of those records are memorable to me. I know Mariah's got the bigger song, but neither one are memorable to me. You know, whose album I would listen to would be Whitney's if I had to, but I'm not. I don't. Neither one. I did like Whitney's gospel songs on The Preacher's Wife, but again, well, Notre Dame is gonna fool around and get a top five seed. Watch, that's done on purpose. Keep your eyes on, because they're gonna want them to play Ohio State. If they can't manipulate Alabama, yeah, yeah, I don't really pay Notre Dame no mind. I saw who they beat, but I ain't pay no mind. No, you can't beat them. No, no one's gonna beat Ohio State this year. Not that I see. They're very poised. They look like men amongst boys this year. Everybody's playing for second this year. But if they lose, I'll be very ecstatic though. But they won't. It's wrong for the art. It's the artist has to make the people feel the hype. I know one thing, you feel dumb if you spent like 40, $50 and then your show was whack, then you have problems. But you can never cross that line um, with your audience. That's just not healthy. Do I trust Ohio State's quarterback? He ain't got to do much of nothing. Just stay poised and don't make mistakes. That's all. They listen. They are physical this year. They're running. What about MO3? Who's MO3? Um, it's hard for me to even talk about college football because I just don't see nobody beating Ohio State. You know, I disagree because first of all, obviously we can make the racial component, which I do, but um, I don't make excuses for Mahomes. Mahomes actually playing pretty good this year. They're basically the same team they were a year ago. They just can't win close games. A lot of it's the defensive lapse. Chris Jones, when they played Jacksonville, fell asleep, let Trevor Lawrence sneak them. They've been losing a lot of close games. That's just bad coaching. Okay, Memo 3, okay. Well, it's an inside hit. Again, a lot of these cats that get taken, they get their masters took, and they get some token gesture from the award shows, but they don't get, you know, so. But, no. Don't put no respect on nothing. Y'all just an average team. I already told it up above. You're an average team. You're doing what you're supposed to. I can make that case, but guess what? The guy did win, and he ain't the reason why they lost these games. You know, they are they don't their defense is atrocious. He balled out against Dallas. They just didn't bring them no help. I don't know. Neither one to me, because one was a bigot, reformed the other. She meant well, but I don't really think about it like either one of them really. I think the media will have you pushing Gandhi though. Maybe I did say that, and I'm not gonna deny I did. You really shouldn't be a 500 team though. I'm not impressed with your team. You want y'all want some kind of cookies for winning a few games, but in reality, you're not better than Seattle. You're not better than the Rams. I think you're better than the 49ers. Chicago got a tiebreaker over you. And if Carolina wins the division, so that's for at least four teams that are better than you. So how are you such a good team? And if Philly finds a way to win a couple of games and they don't choke, you know, so yeah. So I'm just saying. I don't know who to find a team you miss. I'm just saying. But I'm not, the Cowboys are doing what they're supposed to. They like you got like a top quarterback and you got what y'all want. I'm not. These cats on here are. You didn't take them too light that they ran your butt off the field. Remember the last 2 weeks you didn't gave up 49 points. Can't exactly talk about being some Super Bowl team. And that's an area code. That's not a winning rock. That's not a winning team. That's an area code. Shoot. Not a good team. Not a good team. And aside from playing the sorry no account Raiders, everybody put a 20 burger on you. We know you're not that good of a team. Yep. That's how I look at them. I don't really, Professor Dave. Dave who? Because I don't really subscribe to a lot of these people. What's he talking about? I think most of them are pretty out of pocket. If you lose, then what? I know. CeeDee Lamb is he's so janky. This is the thing. Even if you beat Detroit and go on a run, you're not going to beat LA Rams, 49ers, and the Seahawks. Not happening. Bet nothing on no Dallas. I let delusional Cowboy fans talk crazy. Cause y'all delusional. You act like y'all ran all over Kansas City, like y'all ran over the Philly. I don't think so. That's true. Shoot, his number should have been retired like Drew Pearson's. I understand whatchamacallit, Dez Bryant not getting it, but them other two. Mike Irvin was a far superior receiver. Okay. We don't even mention that. It's not enough for discussion. We don't even mention that. They don't go in the same set. Excuse me. 60% saying no, they're not hyped for B2K. Okay, that's more like it. All right. I'll probably be on for about another 15, 20 minutes because I got to go do some stuff. But so it's okay though. Oh, well, yeah, but they two different players. Two different players. Two different eras. Two different mindsets. Yeah, he was. Well, again, different era. A different era. That's a whole different era because tolerance is different. Jimmy Johnson would never tolerate CD Lamb what they tolerate. He wouldn't tolerate stuff that Dak Prescott do. Just saying. So it's a different era. That's how I answer that. Oh no, no. But like I said, it's a different era though. So that's how I look at it. Okay. All right, let's get some conversation. Appreciate everybody coming through, talking. Let's see what we got. All right, let's get some comments going. It's getting kind of quiet again. It's gonna go quiet. I'll give it a couple more minutes. As I told Charlene earlier, I'll be back probably Saturday. So No, CeeDee Lamb wouldn't be on the team with Jerry Jones. Yeah, I mean with Jimmy Johnson. Not with them drops. But again, it's a different era. Different era, different time, different day. Okay, looks like it's kind of cooled off, so I'm gonna pretty much chill it in about a minute. I want to get to 100 views. We're close to. We got double figures on the poll. Feel free to keep on hitting the like up. And once I do that, then I'll pretty much seal it. I appreciate everyone that did come through today, though. It's good seeing y'all. It's been a minute. Okay. Don't see anyone coming through. So we got nice and quiet. That's what we got. Okay. All right. I'm gonna give it a one call, see if anybody's gonna come out one more time before I call it a day. Because I don't think anybody's gonna come through. And like I said, I'll be back Saturday, so I'll just come through. Anyway, I appreciate it when it came through. Thanks always. Appreciate you. Stay safe, stay blessed, stay warm. We're welcome into December. We'll talk real soon. And the poll was 55, no, 45, yes. So it's interesting. But the B2K thing. All right. I'm out one time. Peace.